How do, whatever body shape you are, always know that you are perfect and loved and beautiful just as you are. Hello, my name is Alexa Belfield, the elder sister of Alex Belfield. Oh, he can be a naughty boy, can't he? He can be a naughty boy, can my Alex. You know, I always say that what needs to happen to Alex is he needs taken into a room, the door locking, and given a good woking. He really does, my darlings. He needs given one hard woking. He really does. But he's not always wrong. Sometimes he gets it right, actually. He does. Like everyone else in the world. They can be right, they can be wrong. They can be in between. Or they can be out and out idiots. Anyway, where he got it right this time, and it was interesting watching it, there's been a bit of a dispute flared up between him and a YouTuber called Buzztex Audit. Now, Audit, oh, that reminds me of auditing the books, doesn't it? Oh, no, Diana. No, Diana Abbott, it's not about you. Even though you are such an inspiration to all women of colour. This Buzztex Audit to explain. I never knew him, John. I was too busy making rainbow flags, you know, to celebrate diversity. Now, what he did, this Buzztex Audit, was he went into I don't know where he went to some police station or something, and he was live streaming on YouTube, and an officer threw his address out of a window and doxed him. Well, did the officer dox him? That's the question on the live. Now, let me just point out something. If you go round live streaming, right, and something happens, you can't then complain about it because you were taking that chance. And Alex tried to explain this to him. He was the one that set up that situation himself. Now, did he tell the officer saying that he was live streaming this video? I don't know. I never seen the video. But when I've watched other videos, because when I seen this dispute between him and Alex, I went and looked up this Buzztex Audit, and when I've seen him in other videos, he doesn't tell people if he's live streaming or not. He just says he's videoing. So they don't know that means live streaming. So he's fuming that this officer did this. He's not happy at all. So I say I looked into his channel, and what it is, he's held himself a self-appointed auditor of, you know, like public services and things like that. Not only the police, you know, libraries, he tests security place. Anyway, no, like nearly said the word. No, the thing rules and regulations. You know, where you have to wear a mask and you can't do this and you can't do that. He goes around testing that. He's like he's what is called a mystery shopper. But he doesn't get paid to do it like a mystery shopper would do. Now, to me, he says he isn't, but he is. He's out to goad people. He's out to offend. He's got a total, like, I've got a right. He's one of these, it's my right. I know the rules. I know the rule book. It's my right. And he's like this among, you know, just your nightmare. If you work with the public, it's a nightmare member of the public that comes in and is, you know, doing this on the table, demanding things be done their way because they know the rules. Now, usually find mystery shoppers, genuine, what you can say, genuine auditors, especially, they usually come in and they're not like that at all. They're actually very, very laid back and don't draw attention themselves. And they do use them in police stations. Oh yes, they use them in police stations. The Home Office, I think, does it if I remember rightly. And I tell you now, they are good. They do not tell the force what the force wants to hear. They tell them the truth, and they usually are very, very honest. But the reason they don't go in with all this attitude was because if they did, I tell you now, people would twig there's something suspicious about this. And he actually announced his auditing and all that. That's not the way you do auditing. If you're going to go in like a mystery shopper, the thing is they're not supposed to guess. You're just there to judge how they'll treat you as a normal member of the public, and they're not supposed to work out that you are this person that's going to be writing a report at the end of the day. So he goes in there. He went into a police station. Now it's got here Newcastle Police. He went into, and he goes in straight away. And this is what he does in this video: is he goes in with a camera, and it's the front desk, the reception area, and it's absolutely huge. This reception area, and of course, the officer behind the desk doesn't like him filming, asks him not to, and it says not to film. But he knows his rights. It's a public area. He can film if he wants to. He knows his rights. Well, just to explain to him if he ever hears this, there's a reason you don't film inside a police station, a reception area, or anywhere else. At one point, which he's oblivious to, a woman walks in the station in full view of his camera, and he's filming her walking into that station, and he films her more than once in there. She sits down. She's obviously waiting. She's got a piece of paper in her hand. She's waiting to make a report or something. Just say she was a vulnerable witness reporting a crime. And he puts that on there. And then the person she's reported sees it, puts two and two together. That could be very dangerous for that poor woman. Very dangerous. But of course, he's only interested in his rights. And one of the major concerns he had was that he read on the website he could have a hard copy of PACE. Well, when the officers turn around, they ask the officer, I want a copy of PACE, I want a copy of PACE. And they say, well, go on the website and you'll be able to get it. Right, that's its opening, isn't it? The stars on them. He has read on there, he can have it. He wants a hard copy, it says, and if it says it, he must have it. So they get him in, and all the time he's being, he will not stop filming, he will not do this, he will not do that. Well, of course, he's not endearing himself to the police officers at all that he's talking to. So this is the amazing thing. He's gone in there wanting them to help him, right? Because he says his life is in danger and his family's life in danger because of his address being put out there. Was it the officer's fault that threw it out the window? That's open to question. All that I know is if you're live streaming, you take the chance. So he was wanting the help, and he went in with that attitude. I'll give people a little clue, right? If you want the police to help you, one of the rules are, and this isn't actually something just picking out the air, it's actually in the law itself. You have got to be willing to help the police. It's a partnership. You don't go in there with big attitude making demands and all this. You have to work with them. You're best approaching them in a way that it makes it obvious that you're willing to work with them. Now, at one point he says he doesn't want an officer dealing with him. And this officer says you've got no choice. You can't choose who you want to deal with yet. Well, that's not exactly true. You can. If an officer is, you just can't work with an officer, or that officer's attitude is totally off, or they're horrible to you, or whatever. It's got to be a good reason why you don't want to work with them. You can't say, look, I'm not able to work. Do you remember what I said about the partnership? You're working in partnership. Well, if you've got an officer that's making obvious they're not going to do the best for you, you can turn around and say, look, in a nice way, not demand way, can I have someone else? I've done that. I had to do that recently because of an officer who I could see was not understanding and could not identify hate crimes. I said, there's no point this officer working with me on this. I said, so you have to get someone else. So they got someone else. But I was asking it reasonably, right? Very, very reasonably. And I could tell you a little story here about what used to happen. Because people don't know. I used to work For the police, darling. So yes, I was a WPC. Yes. Anyway, I remember they used to get the odd member of the public would come in a right mood. Sometimes they'd have a good reason to be in a mood. Other times they were just taking their bad mood out on someone that they saw as being an easy target. And they used to turn around and say, "Oh, I want someone else." You'd be reasonable with them, but because they were in a mood and you weren't telling them exactly what they wanted to hear, talking from their script they had in their head, they'd demand to see someone else and used to go, "Oh, thank God," and shout up on the airwaves, "This person doesn't want me dealing with them. Can you have someone else dealing with them, please?" And I'd know exactly what would happen. And everyone knows what will happen. You'd have to say to them, "Right, can you take a chair, please?" And when someone becomes... Well, actually, what you'd say is, you can either go to another station and see if there's an officer available there to deal with you, or you can take a seat and wait to be seen to. Right, they could be waiting 2, 3, 4 hours and not be seen at all. And one really nasty one, oh, she was horrible, really pompous and nasty and looking down the nose and just being so insulting. She did this, so I said, "Well, you have to take a chair and wait." So she waited. But I had people booked in for me to take statements of. So she'd see them coming in, me sitting with them for, well, she didn't see me sitting with them, but they'd be in the interview room for over an hour. Then they'd walk out, all happy, pleased that, the statement had been taken. And she'd have to see them walking out there and she's still sitting there. Well, this happened a few times. Then I heard the bell buzzing. So I had to go out and see, and she's, "No, I'm waiting here. I'm waiting. Is there anyone coming?" And I said, "Oh, sir, I'm sorry." I said, "The police are busy. Someone will be here when they're available, because they've got their own work to deal with." I said, "So they'll be here when they're available." And she wasn't pleased with that. I said, "Well, look," I said, "I told you, you could go to another station. You decided to stay here. That was your choice." And I remember she went, "Oh, all right. I'll let you deal with me then." Oh, I was so pleased. Because she wasn't nasty. She was really nasty. And I said to her, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going off duty in half an hour. So I won't be able to have time to take your statement. But the person who takes over from me, if they're not booked beforehand, they'll take your statement." She was not happy. But that's what happens. So be careful, people. If you're going to say you want another officer to deal with you, make sure it's for a really good valid reason. Or you could be, it will be you that will be inconvenienced, not the officers or the force. So, but he was right in saying that he had the right to ask for another officer. But in this case, he was getting the officers' backs up, you could tell. So they went in a room to discuss it, and the officer, he started to calm down, but then he wouldn't give the officers his address. Now, come on, you're going to report your life's in danger and all that. You want the police to prosecute someone who's making death threats to you, and you won't give the police your address. What are they supposed to do? They can't go out and warn the person. They can't go out and prosecute them, because who's the victim? Who's the alleged victim? Well, you haven't got their address. Can you imagine going to the Crown Prosecution Service and saying, "Here we are, look at that"? The first thing to say, who is it? Where's their address? It was just farcical. It's absolutely farcical the way it ended up. And anyway, what he did, he went to phone up Alex. Now, of course, as people know, my brother, naughty little boy that he is, he has been in rather a lot of bother with the boys and girls in blue, hasn't he? And I have to say, he's got a genuine gripe against the police and case against the police. He's been treated absolutely horrendously. But people presume, because he's been treated that way, that he'll be sympathetic to anyone who says that they've been treated badly by the police. No, look, he may be a bit of a 1970s comedian. He may be naughty and not woke. or as woke as he should be. But he's got intel. I mean, he's not as successful as he is for no reason at all. You know, he's got a brain up there, and even though he's had a bad experience with the police, he knows when other people are just being totally unreasonable. So anyway, this Buzztex called up. Just have a listen to it.
But you're putting your energy in the wrong direction, Buzztex. I don't know who you are, and I'm sorry they named and gave your address, but you've put your family and your daughter in danger, and you must realize so. When you bait the police, you have got what you deserve in their eyes. They don't care about you having the right of way. They've told you a million times they don't understand the law, that you have the right to film in public, and now they're getting the revenge, and I feel very, very sorry for you and your family, because they're not going to let you go. You do realize that, don't you, sir? They're not going to let you go. And you picked on a man, and you did pick on him, who was clearly vulnerable, wasn't looking for a fight, and you made a fool of him. And I understand why he was upset, and I don't like that. When you're going into public places, picking on members of the public, the people I pick on this channel.
Can I talk about something? That man told me to die of COVID.
I don't care. You picked on him. You don't have the right to go around.
I didn't pick on him.
Sir, you need to realise when you stick a camera in people's face.
Someone's going to tell me to die of COVID. I hope you die.
No, you're always the victim. I've seen this a million times. Listen, Buzztex, I wish you well, and I admire what you're trying to do. You've gone about it the wrong way. You've put your children and your wife in danger. And frankly, at this point, you're deserving what you get, because you don't understand that when you go up to people in the public domain and start filming them, they don't like it and it offends them. And if you can't see that, sir, unfortunately, I can't help you. That's not my style. I don't do it. It's not what I'm about. And I think if you did it another way, you would be far more successful and the police would leave you alone. But if you carry on with this, they're not going to stop. Sir, thank you for your call. This is the voice of reason.
Now, as you can hear from that, Alex wasn't very sympathetic towards him, and everything he said was right. You know, you go around setting yourself as an auditor, self-appointed auditor, and you go around testing people, getting the backs up with your attitude, which yes, he's got a really bad look. Just imagine that you work, say you do work with the public in retail or whatever, and you'll know what I'm talking about. A customer comes in like that, isn't it? And you know that if you do anything wrong or say anything wrong, the first thing they're going to do is report you, complain about you, and try to lose you your job. Now, he was saying at one point to these officers, I'm working for the police. I want the police. All total nonsense. No, you don't go in with that attitude, trying to get the police into trouble and reporting them to the PSD every 5 seconds. You know, if you're trying to help and all this. Load of rubbish. He's just someone that wants to make money on the internet, and he's a busybody that loves to complain and a compulsive complainer. And just let me point something else out here, a good bit of advice, which he's going to find out sooner or later. You know, if someone is continually making complaints to a professional standards department, they become known as a vexatious complainant. Now, what that means is that is actually put down vexatious complainant. Now, say that he had a real genuine reason to complain, and he goes in there, and the PSD don't want to do anything about it or want to fob it off, which is what PSD departments usually want to do, because let's face it, the litigation limitation departments, they're trying to stop the force being sued. That's what they're doing. So they'll deny that anything happened. Anyway, what they'll do is they'll just write it up and say, oh, look, he's complained this time, he's complained that time, he's complained that time. Then when the person tries to complain to the IOPC, or what used to be called the IPCC, Independent Police Complaints Commission, they say the same thing. The person is just literally, basically a troublemaker. Too many complaints. So you have to be very careful about playing that trick. So another thing he did, which I thought was amusing, he was saying that some PSD department, Professional Standards Department, a woman there said, had thanked him for what he was doing, and if he knew of any officers to let them know. She wanted to know. I'll give you a little reality check here if Buzztex auditors listening to this, that's called humouring you. Getting you off the back. They're just humoring you. I can assure you, no professional standards department is going to invite complaints from the public. And anyone that's had real issues with the police out there will know exactly what I'm saying here. His idea that somehow they admire him and want him to do what he wants to do. Come on. Are you going to laugh, or do I have to hand you the laugh? You know, we all know that I've been through what's really like. So, darlings, I just thought I'd mention that. I agree fully with what my younger brother Alex said. Oh, and darlings, I remember little Alex when he was a little boy, how he used to enjoy wearing mummy's shoes and putting on mummy's dresses and wearing mummy's makeup. Looks like he's still into those kind of things, you know. And I say embrace it, Alex. I keep on telling him, embrace it. Do away with calling yourself he, him. Do what I do and say, call me they.